is also your past as a businessman, and you know, because you had to deal with this in the primary campaign as well, when you say you want to bring accountability to Tallahassee and accountability to the governor's office, your opponents say, here is a man who was the CEO of a healthcare company that was fined a record $1.7 billion by the federal government for massive fraud. They will say, how can this man bring accountability to government?
Well, that's what my opponent said in the primary, and he lost. I mean, everybody knows we built, and I've built a number of wonderful companies. That company in particular, you know, I took my life savings of $125,000, and in 9 years we built the largest healthcare provider in the world. Our patient satisfaction were way higher than the national average, and so was the
but you also paid a record fine for fraud violations.
And what I tell people is, you know, when you're in business, anything that goes wrong, you should take responsibility if you're the CEO. I do. The difference is, let's think about where we are in the state. We have the highest unemployment on record. We have almost 50% of our homeowners underwater on the mortgages. We're walking into a $5+ billion deficit. Has any politician in the state taken any responsibility for putting us in this position? No. What I tell people all the time is, I'm a business person. I know that, you know, you put up your money, you try to build your companies, and you take responsibility for what goes wrong. I do. When I'm governor, I hope nothing goes wrong, but if it does, you know, I'll show up, I'll take responsibility, and I'll fix it.
Another question you will face in the campaign is you recently gave a deposition in a lawsuit against your current company, Solantic, I believe is the name of it, a series of clinics across the state, and you have yet to release that deposition to the public. Will you do that as you campaign now as the Republican nominee for governor?
This is just a smokescreen by Bill McCollum because he didn't want to run on his record. That's a company I have an investment in. It was a private matter. It has nothing to do with this race. This race is about jobs. Who do you think? But
the race is also about trust. We are in a time where people simply don't trust politicians, and you have run on that theme, saying, I'm an outsider, I'm not one of them. Don't you owe the people of Florida transparency and say, here, it has nothing to do with the race, but here it is. Look for yourself.
Well, it's a private matter. It's something that's has nothing to do with this race. What I'm going to campaign on is what I campaign on in the primary. It's about jobs. I'm going to build jobs. I have a specific plan to build 700,000 jobs over the next 7 years.
Florida is one of the states with the highest price tag of dealing with the cost of hospital visits by illegal immigrants. And as you know, there's been a national debate recently about whether the 14th Amendment should be changed and whether children born of people in the United States illegally should automatically get birthright citizenship. What does Rick Scott think of that issue?
I don't believe we ought to be changing the law. I think we ought to leave the law exactly the way it is, the 14th Amendment.
Leave it as, don't change that. That is, you believe that that is a right.
That is a right. If you're born in our country, you're a citizen of our country.
And you talked about the budget issues you will have to deal with if you're the next governor of Florida. You've been sharply critical of the Obama administration's approach. One of the things this administration has done for the states is offered millions of dollars, in some cases billions of dollars, depending on the size of the state, in assistance to keep teachers and firefighters and police officers on the street. If Rick Scott is the governor of Florida, would you take that money?
Absolutely not. I think stimulus money is an absolute mistake. There's no free money in those stimulus dollars. We're going to have to pay those dollars back, whether we pay it back, our children pay it back, our grandchildren pay it back. Stimulus does not work.